Bird is the word. Bird is the word. All right. Hello, everyone. Joe Fortin here once again. Welcome back to the channel. If you have not done so already, and you would like to continue watching my videos, please go on my website, joefortincoaching.com, and subscribe to the newsletter. I have not been writing newsletters, and, I may not, it may be something that I only do occasionally. However, if anything happens to my channel, that's one of the ways in which you'll be able to find me again. Also, I have been migrating some of my content to BitChute, working on other platforms at the moment as well. I would highly suggest that you create a BitChute account or create accounts on other platforms, as the level of censorship that is occurring on this platform is becoming quite a problem, and fairly soon you won't be able to get really any actual truthful content on this platform. So I would highly suggest that you do that. There should be a link in the description box. I have a referral code. Pretty sure you can just type in my name as a referral code. No spaces, all lowercase. Yeah, so highly suggest that you do that. Okay, today I'm going to talk about a topic that literally just kind of popped in for me while I was jogging. I get a lot of what you could call downloads or inspiration while I'm jogging. And I think that has to do with breathing, frankly. I think it's because I breathe very heavily. A lot of people look at me strange because I breathe so heavily when I jog. It's like, you're supposed to do that. That's why it's called aerobic exercise. Anyway, so I'm going to talk about Scalar interferometry, subspace communications, and twin flame telepathy, and also morphogenetic resonance. So these may not seem like they're related if you haven't looked into the information that I'm about to share with you. So we've all heard the information, right, about the 12-strand DNA template, right? And for a long time, I heard that information. I didn't understand anything about it because, frankly, there are very few people who explain it. It's just one of those things that gets tossed around in the new age and nobody ever explains it, and nobody ever says, hey, if you want to actually know how this works, go look here, right? Because, the majority of people don't know. They don't actually look into this stuff for themselves. It's just a bunch of people parroting and repeating things. Now, it is what it is. I know that I'm very critical of people, especially in the new age. But, it's important to actually understand these things. That's why I give so many references. When I talk about all these things, I give references. I give reference material, and I say, go read this, go read that, this is some actual information on the mechanics. You don't just hear me parroting things that I heard from other people over and over and pass them off as truth, because that is not how you determine what the truth is. So I've talked about this over and over again. Right brain and left brain working in unison. You've got to weigh your intuitions, and you've got to weigh the information that comes in using logic, using discernment. Grounding the information and looking at it scientifically. Science and spirituality, when done correctly, are one and the same thing. There's no difference. One of the things we're doing here is bridging the hemispheres. And as long as people continue to polarize themselves in one side or the other, masculine, feminine, right brain, left brain, upper chakras, lower chakras, right, then we're not going to make progress in this area. So this is one of the things that I feel as though I am especially gifted in doing. I can connect these dots. I can show you where these two areas, match up, where they line up. I can look at different systems and see the correlations between them. And, again, sometimes I know that I can come across as a little arrogant and, that kind of thing. I'm sorry for that. It's maybe, it is something I need to work on a little bit, but it is what it is. I'm just tired of hearing people fuck things up, and it's difficult hearing, it took me years to find this information, right? And, I could have been given this information right away and not had to go through all that nonsense. So, listening to, a whole community of people that are just parroting things. So, okay, let's get to the point here. I don't want to, just keep harping on that. Subspace communication, right, is something that we've been told is science fiction. That's nonsense. That's bullshit. Subspace communication has existed for a long time. Tesla basically invented it. He also invented radio. He was basically he was not the person who found scalar waves, but he confirmed it, and he built technology based on, on scalar wave propagation, which is longitudinal wave propagation. What we're used to with the electromagnetic spectrum is or what are called Hertzian waves, which basically it's the waveform that you're familiar with, like a wave in an ocean goes up and down. Longitudinal waves go lengthwise, longitudinally. They're also it's measured in volts rather than in hertz. So it's a different type of wave propagation, and it is related to quantum entanglement, which I have discussed in terms of morphogenetic resonance with twin flames and telepathy, and how you will see your healing reflected in your counterpart, right? Even if it looks like they're completely asleep, and that they're not doing any of the work, and that they don't understand any of these things, you will notice, if you do have that level of connection in the dynamic, you will notice that when you come into contact with them periodically, that they will have changed in a lot of the same ways that you have, even if they don't know why or how or whatever, right? So basically, I'm gonna briefly explain some things that I would invite you to explore on your own. I have mentioned this over and over and over, and it's like people have like really huge blocks to looking at this information, and you've been programmed not to. You've been programmed not to look at the true information that would allow you to liberate yourself from the chains of the Metatronic reversal, codes in your DNA. It's sort of like a self-perpetuating cycle. The distortions are in your DNA template, and those distortions prevent you from looking at the information that would allow you to clear all of that. So basically the way that it works is, people have talked about the soul monad, and there's disinformation out there on this, and there's disinformation on my channel about this, so I'm going to correct it. I had mentioned that there were 12 simultaneous incarnations in the monad. That is incorrect. There are 12 simultaneous incarnations at this density level that are part of the same oversoul. Okay, and I'm going to look at a diagram right now for reference so that I don't make any more mistakes. So give me a second, and I'm going to pull up a diagram for you guys. I'm going to edit the diagram into the video, so it should appear here while I'm talking about this so that you guys can see it. Okay, I am going to show you this image that I am now looking at. And what I'm going to do is I'm just going to edit in this image in pieces, because I've got a large image that basically goes from harmonic universe 1, which is density level 1, which is the plane that we're at, all the way up to essentially God source, right? And this is working with 15-dimensional physics with the Kathara grid, as I've explained on my channel. And you'll see in this, like the blue flame of Amenti, the violet flame, these are all mentioned in this diagram. I'm also going to post some other diagrams, and I'll post links below. I will put this on, I'm going to put these images in a zip file, and I'll put them on like Google Drive. So if anybody wants to download them, you will have access to this information. So I actually even made a mistake. It is 12 incarnate identities, which would be like what I am right now, right, at density 1, that make up one soul identity, right? And then 12 soul identities that make up one oversoul identity. And you'll be able to see this in the chart if you follow along. So the next level up is harmonic universe 4, which is the avatar identity. Within each avatar, there are 1,728 incarnate identities in different time vectors. So the little, I showed you guys a chart at one point of like what, yeah, I called it a monad because that was the information that I was given by someone. That is not correct. Monad is way higher up in this chart. But I drew a pie chart with 12 pieces in it, right? And I'm going to draw another little one right now just to show you. 1, 2, 3. Oh, this is horrible. Okay, I needed to take a minute to do this. So we've got a pie chart, right? These are incarnates, right? This is a soul. This whole thing is a soul. These are incarnates. So on this density plane, you're going to have your own identity, right? You're going to have your own ego. But you're operating from the same soul blueprint. You've got the 12 and the 6 incarnates and the 3 and the 9. Sorry, this is not like drawn well, but you get it. These are your 4 primaries. And allow me to show you something. The person that I'm currently identifying as my twin flame made me a keychain. I don't even think she knows what she gave me. Maybe she does, and she's just playing tricks with me. I have no idea. But there's 4 faces on this little fucker. So anyway, for what it's worth, I asked her if she did that on purpose, and she said nothing, as usual. So, you know, who knows? Could be the CIA playing mind games with me. I have no fucking idea. Let's continue. So anyway, those are your 4 primaries, right? Within this, you're going to have 6 male, 6 female, right? And, yeah, twin flames are going to be a male and a female. I believe the 6 and the 12 are I guess you could say the primary twins, right? The 9 and the 3 are like a secondary set. And the other people within this are your twin rays, right? So for those who are having like a same-sex twin dynamic, that's going to be what's happening there. It doesn't make you better or worse, or it doesn't mean anything. So get that out of your head. I'm not trying to say that you can't be part of the club and that you're not as good as anybody else, but we need to, we need to define these things and use the proper mechanics. So that's what I'm trying to do, okay? I'm not being prejudiced against anybody. I don't have any ill will towards anyone. I love you all the same, okay? You are all special, unique snowflakes. So anyway, what happens within that is that you share a genetic template, right, as well. And in the higher density planes, which would be represented by the higher points in the Kathara grid, which is also reflected in your 12 chakra system. So I'm going to show you a picture of a Kathara grid, right? You have this. You are a microcosmic example of this. This gets reflected out into the reality field all the way up to a full Vecca universe system, right? At larger scales, this Kathara grid will, for example, the stargates on Earth, right, all line up with these Kathara grids. It all lines up with the ley lines. And at a larger scale, right, they will actually represent star systems. So like Alcyon is one, Pleiades is one, etc., so on and so forth, right? All the way up to, you get to a certain scale and it's like entire galaxies are different points in that Kathara grid, right? It just goes up and up and up in scale. It's fractals. It goes all the way down to the molecular level too, and the quantum level. This is and that's called particae and particum in terms of like how the morphogenetic field manifests and creates material to begin with, matter, right? So what happens when you start to activate your higher identity levels, when you start to activate your multidimensional self, right, you start to merge with that other person in mind, right? And also on a genetic level. As you activate your higher DNA strands, you're going to merge with that person more and more and more and more and more until you ascend into density 2 together, and their ego, their meat suit that they're walking around in right now may not like that. Well, give them some time, okay? They'll figure it out. Don't worry about them. What's happening right now is supposed to happen. Everything that's going on is supposed to happen, including them, doing whatever the fuck it is that they're doing. Don't worry about it. I know that you're going to get angry. I know that you're going to get pissed off. I know that, yada, 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 right? But if that's your true twin, if this is really what's happening like, if it is true, then it's not, you don't need to worry about it. It'll happen the way it needs to. Do your work. Do the 12D Maharic Shield. Do some of these exercises that are in Ashayana Dean's book in Voyagers, right? Go get some of her workshops. You can go get them. There's a group called Consciousness Expansion Movement that has all of this. You can get all of this information on there for free, okay? Go check it out. I'm just explaining this on a very basic level so that people don't have to be confused anymore. Because as far as I can see, nobody else is explaining this. Now, admittedly, I don't watch anybody else's Twin Flame YouTube videos anymore, so maybe people are explaining this. But the last time I looked at most people's Twin Flame videos, it's still a bunch of fucking overly romantic, fluffy nonsense, new age fucking rainbow colored smoke being blown up everybody's asses, and it's just not helpful, So if you want some real info, here you go. And this gets into everything. It gets into fucking quantum mechanics. It gets into morphogenetic fields. It gets into all this stuff. So basically on a molecular level and all that, right, what's going on with the morphogenetic and subspace resonance, right, is that you're quantum entangled. You're basically the different you could call it like dimensional locks, right? The line that separates the densities, right? Imagine it like light going through a prism, right? So imagine that here you go, here's a soul, right? And in between your complete soul at density 2, right? And each one of these individually, which appears to be separate, right? There's like a prism, right? That represents the, the divide between density 1 and 2, right? So here you have density 2. You've got light coming down from density 2, right? And what this does is it splits that light into 12 pieces. And you're one of those, and they're another one. And, it only appears at this density level that you're separate, that you're two beings, but you're not. You are, but you're not at the same time. And when you bring your consciousness up to the density 2 level, it won't even be a question. You'll just know that. You may still occupy a physical vessel, but you'd be able to move in and out of, either vessel at will, because you'll be one being. Just like in the Dark Crystal. The Dark Crystal is explaining all of this. That's what the Dark Crystal is about. The reason why there's 11 Skeksis, though, is because what they're explaining is the distortion from the 11th density down. It's all encoded in these movies. You just have to know what you're looking at. So, yeah, the reason you feel stuff at the same time and all that is because essentially it's just like quantum entanglement. You can use, emit a particle beam, right, and split it. In quantum physics and quantum mechanics, right? And you can disturb this part of the split beam over here, and the other one will do the same thing, right? No matter what the distance is. It's the same thing. It's the same phenomenon. You are quantum entangled. I know, it sucks, doesn't it? It's like, Jesus Christ, how did I get stuck with this one? I know what you're thinking. I'm thinking the same thing. Why? No, the truth is I love her. She frustrates the hell out of me. She's the most irritating person I've ever met on Earth, but I love her. I do. I can't help it. Just is what it is, baby. So, yeah, I'm going to be done. I hope this was entertaining, if nothing else. And, just understand that, like, first of all, if you don't understand this, that's okay. Most people don't right now. In 20 years, this will be common knowledge. Everybody will know this. Everybody will know this stuff. Everything's coming to light right now. We're going through a paradigm shift. We're going through the Ragnarok, baby. Buckle your seatbelts, because Kansas is going bye-bye. Love you guys. Have a good one. Happy Halloween.